tonight, eh? Good. Come on, you.
Welcome back to 57.5. You've tuned in just in time for our weekly broadcast, Speak No Evil, hosted as always by Sarcasm the Sickness. Unwind from the daily grind and enjoy.
Hello, lovely people of the airwaves. My name is Sarcasm the Sickness, and thank you for tuning in again this week to 57.7 for our segment Speak No Evil. Thank you so much for joining me and coming back again for another week. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm not going to do you the disservice of explaining again what Speak No Evil is. Hopefully by this point you do know. And I do want to thank everybody who sent in more questions to our Ask.fm app at ask.fm/speaknoevilradio. Your continued support really does just warm my heart. It's really what makes this show possible. So thank you so much for that. And if you haven't already submitted questions, but you have a question, do not hesitate to send them in right now. I need it, essentially. And not only do I appreciate it, but this show rides off of your support and your participation. So thank you to everybody who has participated, and thank you to those who do in the future. And we are just going to dive right in. And our first question is, I'm a very romantic person, but my girlfriend is the complete opposite. I go out of my way to make her feel loved, do little things for her, but she never really does the same for me, just lives her life. I've accepted her for how she is, but sometimes I feel the desire to be treated the same way I treat her, to feel loved like I make her feel. But if I say anything and she changes, it won't feel genuine and instead forced. I love her more than anything in this world, so what can I do to get over this? I do want to start off by saying that I don't think it's unfair for you to want to see or feel that love in action. You know what they say, right? Like, that actions speak louder than words? That's why you feel the way you do. And you can only trust someone on their word for so long. And I'm not saying that you don't trust her. I'm not saying that, you don't believe her when she says that she loves you. But I'm saying that it probably still hurts inside. And that's not fair to you, and she needs to understand that. You absolutely deserve to feel loved, and you absolutely have the right to tell her that you feel she's not emotionally available to you. Maybe she doesn't know how much attention and adoration you actually, really need to feel appreciated. And, I don't know, maybe it won't be as bad as you think it will be. I'm not going to hazard a guess as to what your zodiac sign is or anything, but I kind of want to bring that up a little bit to describe the situation I'm in. Pedro is a Leo, and while Leos are proud and showy and confident fellows, they kind of tend to need someone behind the scenes to pat them on the head and tell them they've done a good job today. And it's kind of also the same as signs like Scorpio, who act really cold and indifferent at times, but they really do need someone who is willing to break down their walls and care for the little darling that they hide inside their outer shell. And as for me, a Libra, I pretty much exist to make other people happy, and I adore stroking the ego of my mate, especially if it spurs them into more fantastic action. So my partners almost never have that problem with me not expressing my love. But I have had the opposite. I dated a Capricorn who was kind of emotionally detached, like the way you describe your girlfriend. Never really seemed to try to do anything extra to make me smile or make me feel appreciated. Just existed and lived his life, and I was there kind of on the side almost. At least that's what it felt like to me. So I kept giving and giving and giving, and I kept trying and trying, and eventually I gave it all I had. And eventually he left me. He left me feeling empty and used, and if she really cares about you, then she is not going to make you want to feel empty and used. She's going to want to know that you feel that way, that you feel like there's not enough effort on her part, and she should want to make a change for you. But at the same time, if she does try to put this effort forward, then you're going to have to understand that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a difficult and long process for her to change, I guess the way that she handles things. And it's not changing her as a person. I would never say that, trying to show you more love is going to change her as a person. She should already want to like, she should already want you to feel loved by her. So asking her to, I guess, to put that into action should not be a huge argument or a huge discussion. It should be, if she really does care about you, then she should be understanding to that as well. You'll need to be patient with her, obviously, because it is going to take a while. And you need to figure out the best way to help her to help you, basically. You know, you need to tell her very clearly the things that you feel are lacking in the relationship. Because if she's going to sit around and wonder why you're feeling this way, then that's what she's going to do. She's going to spend more time wondering why you're saying what you're saying and why you're acting this way, instead of focusing on what's important, which is making you feel more loved and making you, you know, happier in the relationship. So make sure you're not vague, is what I'm trying to say. Make sure you're not, like, make sure that when you tell her, you know, what it is that you feel is missing on her part, make sure that's clear and make sure she understands it, because, well, she needs to. If she's going to make this change, if she's willing to make this change, she needs to understand what it is that is changing, essentially. Yeah, and the other side of it is, even though she's going to be making this change, and that's kind of what this question is focused on, you are going to have to change as well, and you're going to have to be working with her. This is going to be a team effort, and a relationship should always be a team effort. You're going to have to work with her to help her, you know, to help her change what it is that, you know, that makes you feel less loved and less appreciated. And you're going to have to understand that she is going to make mistakes. You're going to have to be patient with that. She's not always going to, it's not going to be a natural change. It's going to be something that is going to take a lot of time. And it's going to take a lot of thinking on her part at first. She's going to have this at the forefront of her mind for a little while before it becomes second nature. And, the other side of it is you also have to know what she needs in the relationship. Because at this point, this may be a good time to kind of clear the air and make sure that everything is fine on both fronts. Make sure that both of you feel cared for, you know, like make sure that both of you feel loved and appreciated. If she is the type that just kind of lives her life, maybe she feels smothered by the fact that, you know, you do so much for her and you do so much extra effort. Maybe when you need to, maybe where you need her to put a little more effort, she needs you to pull back. And this could be, like I said, this can be a great time to have this discussion and make sure that everybody is getting what they want in this relationship. Because if you really do love her, then you're definitely gonna be willing to make this change for her if that is what she needs. And if she's happy where she's at and she's happy with what you're doing, then she should want you to feel the same way. And hopefully there is some sort of middle ground that you two can feel comfortable meeting at. But if there isn't, and she isn't willing to go that extra mile for you, then it might be time to start thinking critically about your relationship. I don't want to advise you to break up with her, but if she loves you, then she'll be willing to at least try to make sure you feel appreciated and loved in the relationship. A relationship should be a balance. And it's not to say that both parties will always be able to give 50-50 every time, but you cannot have one person giving 90% effort 100% of the time. There will be times where she is weak and she needs you, and she needs you to just continue, she needs your all to continue forward. She needs all of your effort to push forward and to get through whatever it is that has her, you know, upset and down. And you'll need to give 90% to her 10%. But there are times where you are going to be broken and hurt, and you are going to need her to be there for you and not just continue to live her life. You need her to give that 90-10 split instead. And it has to start here at 50-50. Because this is where you learn if this is even worth continuing. Every relationship I was in, I was you. I was the one giving everything and had to get only part of what they did. At most times, I was eventually tossed aside like an old plaything that they'd gotten bored of after a while. And a few times I was brave enough to decide that they were never going to give their all, and I left on my own accord. But from where I'm standing now, I can tell you that is not the way it's supposed to be. You are not supposed to do everything you can to get little to nothing in return. And I'm going to use my relationship now as an example. Pedro and I are in a very healthy relationship, and I'm proud to say that. He doesn't expect me to be the only one doing the little things to surprise him and make him happy. He gives those back just as much. And vice versa. I never expect him to take the full weight of anything, whether it be emotional, financial, etc. We work as a team in everything we do. And when one of us feels left out or left behind, we're open enough with each other to bring it up with them. And I'm not saying that every relationship has to be our relationship, but I just want to bring it up to show as an example of what you seem to be looking for. You do appear to be looking for a partnership, for somebody who is going to put in as much effort as you put in. And I'm telling you that it is possible. There is, if it's not her, and I'm not saying that it's not her, but if it isn't, there is somebody out there who wants exactly what you want. There is going to be somebody out there who wants to put in her full effort and get the full effort of her partner, of her mate, in return. And I do hope that that person is your current girlfriend. I really do hope that she is willing to do this for you. I really don't think that it's too much for you to ask for her to show that she loves you. Like, if it's wrong for you to ask her to express her love for you, then maybe there isn't really any love on her part in the first place. And I really don't want to be that person to tell you that this relationship isn't worth continuing. But if she isn't going to make this effort, then maybe it isn't. But if she is, then please hold on to her because that's special. That is incredibly special. And basically the bottom line is I don't think you're asking too much. And I think she should be willing to put this to talk about this with you and put this effort forward. Just have a very open discussion with her. Have a very honest discussion and a calm discussion. And, just help her to understand why it is you feel this way. Because I don't think there's a way you can get over this. Like I said, every time that I've been in a relationship where I haven't been given my partner's 100%, like if they just didn't feel like I was worth trying for, then it always ended badly. And if it doesn't end badly now, or later, it could be way down the line when maybe you two get married, and she still doesn't act like she loves you, and it's just been years and years and years of feeling unloved and unappreciated, and you eventually snap and you leave her. And I don't want to see that happen to you. I want to see that at least if it's going to end, that it ends before it gets, too far, I suppose. But obviously, I don't want to see it end, and I want to see her make this effort, and that is my hope for you. And I wish you luck, I guess. I wish you luck in this. And with that, I am going to move on with the next question, which is, I often find myself judging others a bit too harshly. Sometimes I feel like people are not being true to themselves and are acting disingenuous. This finds me being an outsider and feeling like maybe there's something wrong with me. My question is there something wrong with me? Signed, Ponyboy Curtis. Curtis, I can certainly see it from your perspective. If there is anything that annoys me, it's people being insincere to who they really are. I talked about exes a little bit in the last question, and I am going to bring up another one now. I dated a guy who I met in my writing class in high school. He was a really good guy and had a deep love for poetry and fiction writing. But around his friends, he acted like hood or gangster or whatever term people give that sort of behavior, where one acts like the neighborhood they grew up in was a war zone. Now, I know that this can be true for some people, but it wasn't for this guy. Not that he hadn't been in his fair share of sad or tragic events, but our town wasn't exactly, gang-centric or even remotely close to being a true ghetto. So when he acted this weird way around his friends, it made me mad. I hated seeing him around his friends because he never acted this way around me. He never acted like his true self. He was sensitive and kind, and he acted cold and harsh around his friends, and it was just weird. And there wasn't a lot I could do. And even now, I see people I've met in person, talking on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, they're one way, and I know that they're the opposite because I've met them and I've been with them, and that can be equally frustrating. Some of my friends have even been the target of my judgment in this respect, and it's hard to keep that from driving a rift between us. In short, I really don't think there's anything wrong with you. I get it. I've been there. I am there. And because I am so open and forward about my life, I hate seeing others being secretive and underhanded about theirs. I hate when people refuse to show their softer side, or when they know they have a passion or a talent but they don't pursue it for one reason or the other. It makes me feel like they're wasting their time and mine. And this can be an extremely harsh judgment. To consider someone a waste of time, like that's not what I want to do. I don't want to pass that sort of judgment onto anybody. That's messed up. And I'm aware of that. So I have had to learn how to get over it in a way. First of all, being true to yourself and being sincere in your actions and words does not mean there's something wrong with you. Who you are is perfectly fine. It's who I am. It's like, just because you're not, the type that hides their true self, that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. If anything, I feel like most people wish that they felt comfortable enough with their true selves to be that real around people, but they just can't for some reason. Remember that. Because, second, as I've mentioned, people have their reasons for hiding their actions or speaking in a way that doesn't really represent them. Sometimes they've just been hurt in the past and they don't feel comfortable letting others see their true selves. And I think that might be the case with that ex that I mentioned. Sometimes the secret they hold is just too much and it's just too big to feel safe revealing it to anyone. Or maybe they're trying to protect someone or themselves. And maybe just because they've been raised this way. Like, that if they act a certain way, everything will be fine, but if they show any weakness or act true to themselves, that they'll regret it. And sometimes people are just ashamed of their true selves, or they've made an action that kind of completely goes against their true selves, and they just want to take that secret to the grave. All I'm saying is, people have their reasons for their ways. Granted, some of them are bad reasons. Some of them are really bad reasons. Sometimes people don't act in their true selves because they just want to fit in. And I feel like you have a right to be not judgmental necessarily, but upset about that and not want to be somebody or not want to be around somebody who acts this way. But sometimes people do have a basis. And I kind of think that you have three options here, honestly. You can either kind of train yourself to either not judge or just not think about it so much. You can surround yourself with sincere people who you feel are being true to themselves. That way you don't have to feel like you're being judgmental. Or you can try to find out why your current company feels the need to disguise their true identities. The third option sounds like it's prying a lot, but if you do it kindly and gently, it may actually bring you closer to those who you felt very distant with. As I said, this kind of has to be done in a non-threatening manner. Have a sit down with a friend. Ask them why they don't choose to chase their dreams, or why they make those messed up jokes in front of people, or why they act like they never cry even though you've actually seen them do it. And you might be surprised at what you find. And with that, I am going to move on with the next question, which is, Dear Tara, my whole group of friends are in relationships, and it makes me feel kind of alone and secluded. It also makes me feel that I need to be in a relationship too. I don't know if I'm just being silly or not, but it's been upsetting me for a while. What should I do? Signed, Anani. Anani, I kind of do think you are just being silly. No disrespect, of course. And I'm gonna explain why. If all of your friends decided to do something like, I don't know, like swim in a pool of hungry sharks, then why would you feel like you would have to do the same just because all your friends are doing it? If all your friends decided that they wanted to go to college to be a lawyer, and you really want to be a doctor, would you still follow them? What I'm saying is, you are your own person, and you should do whatever is best for you, meaning not swimming with sharks, and not denying your true passions, and not getting into a relationship just because everyone else is. I hate that exes are being brought up so much in this segment, but it's time for another story. In middle school, I was considered the late bloomer. My body didn't develop like other girls. I wasn't seriously interested in boys like other girls were, and I was already pegged as I really was pegged in the class as the ugly, stupid, quiet girl with a gross-sounding voice. I was already disliked by anyone I found attractive. And my friends in 8th grade or by 8th grade, I think they even started in 7th grade, had already been through like 2 or 3 relationships, if you can really call them relationships at that age. And so, when a squat, irritating, pushy, cocky little 6th grader asked me out at the school dance, I fell in love. I didn't particularly like the kid, but the fact that he liked me for some reason made me feel needed, and it made me feel like I wasn't a lost cause, or that I wasn't going to be lonely forever. This kid took advantage of me, and he used me because he knew how weak and desperate I was for affection. I wasted my first kiss on him, and just generally, like, wasted 3 months of my life. It was a bad thing. It was a really bad thing for me. And when you look for a relationship for the sake of having a relationship, bad things happen. I have never seen something like that work out. When you talk to like a happy couple, you really never hear them say, well, I asked her out because all my friends had girlfriends and I got lonely. Or, you know, like, I don't know, he asked me out and I didn't really like him that much, but I wanted to have a boyfriend, so... So if you start a relationship just to have a relationship, it's not going to be based on real emotion, and hence, it has nothing concrete to stand on. And like me with this stupid 6th grade boy, maybe what it is you'll fall in love with the feeling of being in love. And that's all you'll have. You'll love the idea of love, but that'll only take you so far. Instead of seeking out a relationship, I think you should seek out a new friend outside of that group. Not that you have to, like, deny or reject those friends, but, you know, it's someone you can hang out with when everyone else is on their double dates or whatever it is that couple friends do. You know, you pick up a hobby, like drawing or sculpting or guitar playing. Figure out something that makes you happy when you feel lonely or sad. For me, when I was single and desiring a relationship, I watched shows or YouTube. Family Guy was a show that got me through hard times, and it made me laugh when I found it hard to. And the last time that I felt lonely, the last time I was broken up with, I watched a lot of PokeTubers to pass the time. When I couldn't get myself going, you know, enough to like wow. When I couldn't get myself going enough to draw away my feelings. Something about like watching shows and watching YouTube is it does make you feel less alone, because it does feel like you're engaging with somebody. And that's what I really like about YouTube and about, you know, having a favorite YouTuber or whatever. It's just you feel like you are a part of this person's life, and you are. By being a viewer and by being a supporter, you are, and that can go a long way. That can go a long way for somebody feeling lonely. But basically what I'm saying is do something for you. Make you happy. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you need to learn more about yourself before getting involved with someone else. Or maybe the person you're destined to be involved with still needs to learn more about themselves first. I think you just need to relax and just live your life. Don't concern yourself with what others are doing or saying. You are an independent person, and I know you will still feel that twinge of loneliness, and, you know, what you're gonna have to do is find something that makes you happy when you feel down, because it's not necessarily going to go away just because you decided to not worry about it, but you need to learn how to take care of yourself. You need to learn how to self-serve and bring some self-worth to yourself. That was a lot of self. I'm sorry. But yeah. You know, like, find something that makes you happy. Get involved with something, like a team or a club, or, I don't know, spend more time on your hobbies, or just walk around the neighborhood, get a pet. Sometimes, just by doing your own thing, somebody will notice you and fall in love with you. And that's the best way it can happen. It's the best way. It's just by doing nothing at all, or, you know, not making any kind of specific effort. Maybe you'll find somebody that you truly care about, or somebody will find you and truly care about you. And that is going to be our third question. And I'm going to go on to the next one. Our fourth question is, being overweight and feeling very self-conscious, I lost a lot of weight and felt happy with my body. However, now I receive comments that I'm too thin, occasionally hearing the word anorexic. I don't feel I'm too thin, and I don't know who to trust anymore. I'm confused and paranoid of judgment. Please help. That is such a tough situation. And I'm glad that you made the choice, or I'm glad that you made a choice that made you feel better about yourself. But obviously there's only so far you should go, and only so far you should push your body. Now, I am not going to tell you that they're right and that you are too thin, and I'm not going to say they're wrong, simply because I cannot see you. I do not know what your body was like before you lost the weight or what it's like now, and I'm not a doctor. And they're not doctors either. So always take what they say with a grain of salt. If you've gotten down to your target weight, congratulations, you should feel good about yourself. You have done something that some people only idly dream about when they see a cute dress or shirt in the shop window. Make sure that your target weight is still a healthy weight, though. And maybe talking to a doctor about it, or to your parents, or, another person who, is close to you, who you feel is going to be honest with you, could help you either feel more secure or alert you to it could alert you that you have a problem, maybe. My biggest concern here is your health, and it is important to be healthy. But with that being said, I myself am a 110-pound female who has been told that I look anorexic or bulimic, despite the fact that I have never had any sort of drastic change in my body. I have been thin my whole life, and while it is a relief that is not something I need to concern about, while it's a relief that that weight isn't something I need to concern myself with, it does, for whatever reason, bring alarm to others. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, people have found themselves worried about me or concerned with me because of my weight. Despite the fact that, like I said, I have never had a drastic body change. I've been thin since the day I was born, pretty much. And it kind of came to a head for me when I had a school nurse in high school literally forced me to eat my lunch in front of her so that she could be sure that I actually did eat or didn't get disgusted at the fact that I was putting food into my body or didn't throw it up afterwards. And I've had friends threaten to hold me down and force feed me fatty foods despite the fact that I have never not eaten food in front of them, I've never denied food or in front of them, or never, never made it like something that was so difficult to do. They had never seen me, refuse to eat in front of them because, I don't want you to see me eat or whatever. It was just because I was thin. They were, for whatever reason, threatened by that or worried about that to a point that it just made no sense. And sometimes people are just sticking their nose in business that not only does not concern them, but is not even an issue to begin with. If these are baseless claims and you are healthy and eating right, then that should be enough of a comfort for you. But I obviously understand that it's really frustrating and insulting that people would think such things of you, because I have been there. And there are 3 big ways you can handle this. You can ignore it, which I know isn't easy, and I've tried. You can be polite and explain that you do indeed eat, and that you are not starving yourself. And if they don't believe you, then maybe they don't have to be your friend anymore. Or you can be more aggressive. When someone accuses you of being anorexic, offer them the chance to take you out to lunch so they can see how much you really eat. That's a little passive-aggressive, maybe, but it provides something of an ultimatum. Either they have to just shut up and trust that you're not mistreating your body, or they go out and find out for themselves that you are not mistreating your body. And if they're still going to talk behind your back or to your face after that, then maybe they're not actually concerned about you, but are just looking for something to make you feel bad about, since they can't make you feel bad about being overweight anymore. And you just don't need that negativity in your life. And just to recap, I do recommend that you talk with a doctor or a close family member, or just, close friend in general, to make sure that you are being healthy in your choices. And if you are making those correct choices, and you are being good to your body, then you need to either ignore or confront the people who are calling you this horrible term without having a true basis for it. They might be truly concerned, and if they are, then they should hopefully have enough trust in you, or at least enough trust in that doctor or consultant or whoever it was, that you are being healthy. And if they're still going to throw that term around, then maybe they're just the same jerks who would have made fun of you for being overweight. As a side note, I would like to add that you should feel happy with yourself no matter if you're overweight or underweight. As long as your body is healthy, then there really shouldn't be anything else you need to worry about. People come in all shapes and sizes, and they're all beautiful, and I truly believe that. So, hopefully they'll stop being jerks and stop, I don't think people understand how much that word hurts. Anorexic. And if these people truly care about you, then then they're really only saying it because they think that there might be a problem. And you either have to convince them or prove to them that there isn't a problem so that they stop worrying and they stop saying it. But if they're just saying it just to say it and just to make you feel bad, then don't worry about it, because they're not the kind of people you need in your life, and they're not the kind of people you need to concern yourself with. Just ignore it and kind of, maybe not necessarily ignore it, but at least accept that they're going to say it because they want you to hurt and they want you to feel bad. And you don't need that. You don't need to feel bad. Good luck. We're gonna move on to our final question, and I actually have been doing pretty good on time this segment, and I'm actually pretty proud of that. So yes, we are going to move on to our final question, and that is, hey there, this might look like an inappropriate question, and I am so sorry for that, but I have a confidence problem with the size of my you-know-what down there, and was wondering if it really does matter on the size of it, because based off of relationships nowadays, it's what they're all based off of. So, before I continue and answer this question, I do want to say, if you are not comfortable with the topic of sex, sexual activity, male genitalia, etc., then you can go ahead and tune into another station, and hopefully I'll see you back next week. But, if you are okay with it, then I guess you can continue listening. I do want to say this, though, just to give everybody the chance to, I guess, to turn off the radio now, and I just don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, so I am not going to be upset if you stop listening right now. But for those of you who do stick around, thank you, and, I guess I'm glad you can see this objectively, because it is not appropriate for radio for me to make this, like, super steamy or anything. It is just going to be a very objective look at sex and sexual activity, and, I guess, penis size. So, here we go. I do want to start off by saying that if all the relationships you have been in or seen as examples have been based off of penis size, then there is a problem. A good relationship is based first and foremost, off of personality, and then, you know, kind of from there, chemistry, interests, intelligence, and pretty much lastly, sexual compatibility. And by sexual compatibility, I don't mean the size of a male's genitalia. I mean that two people can come together and have amazing sex because they know each other's likes and dislikes and quirks. Penis size should never, ever make or break a relationship. If you have been with a woman who has left you for that reason, then they're hardly a woman at all, but a silly little girl who doesn't know what's truly important in this world. Or worse, females do know that they can throw that term around, that term little dick, to make a man feel worse about himself. In a similar respect, excuse me, I'm slurring my words now, to how a male can tell a female that her vagina is loose to make her feel bad. Sometimes, these are just things said by an angry or shallow person to justify leaving you. Secondly, I dated a guy once with a rather sizable member, and when I told him that, he was shocked and amazed. He thought he was small compared to most men, and no, he wasn't exactly porn star big, but he was the second biggest I had personally ever encountered. And he was worried because he compared himself to porn stars and the big talking egos of other males around him. So if no one has ever seen your penis, don't tell yourself you're small just yet. You might just be one of the biggest a lady has ever seen. And even if people have told you that you're not big enough in the past, that's not to say that the next woman won't be impressed. It's all based on personal experience. And it's also one of those things that sometimes other guys talk big around everybody else and talk big in front of the guys and talk big in front of the ladies, but maybe it's because they're trying to cover up their insecurities as well. So you may not be small compared to everybody else around you. Sometimes it's all just an illusion. Sometimes it's all just a mask to hide something that they're afraid about. And third, and lastly, if you are actually deemed to be below average, that is not a sexual death sentence. That's when it's time to turn the tables in your favor. Get on Google and start researching ways to use what you have. Remember that second biggest guy? Well, the first biggest male I was with was awful in bed. He had a large member, sure, but he had no idea what he was doing with it. And while he was a bit needy when it came to sex, it didn't really translate to passion in the bedroom. It felt like his singular purpose was to only pleasure himself and not ever be concerned if I was truly enjoying it or not. There was no sexual compatibility between us, and he was too sensitive and insecure about himself as a person to allow me to show him how to pleasure me right. So do yourself a favor, and your partner a favor, and allow yourself to be open to suggestions. This is how you learn, after all. It's how you get better for both her and yourself. You might be what some would consider under-equipped, but you can still shoot a pistol with extreme accuracy while other idiots miss every shot from their machine guns. In a relationship, learn what she likes and how you can accomplish it. Keep in mind also that your penis is not even your most powerful sexual weapon in your arsenal. You have your mouth, fingers, teeth, etc. You have other tools at your disposal that you can have work well with your member. The female body is a beautiful and sensitive thing, just as is a male's. And if you're willing to find out what gets her going, then you'll be much more impressive than those guys that just think size alone is how you please a woman. Or, if you're into men, then I'm pretty sure that's how it works for them as well. I'm pretty sure it works the same way, and I am sorry for assuming that you're a heterosexual. Wow. I'm sorry, my mouth is trying to speak much faster than I'm thinking it. If you are into men, I'm sorry for assuming that you're heterosexual, but I'm basically just speaking from experience and where I come from and, just what I've been through, and so I do pretty much believe that it does translate over to homosexual relationships as well. Essentially, I'm saying, do not be worried about the size of your penis, because somebody who truly cares about you is not going to care about that. And if you find somebody that you truly do care about, and that's what a relationship should be based off of, then you are going to try to find ways to pleasure her and to make her, or him, feel good. And as long as you're willing to do that, then I really don't think you should have a problem at all. And like I said, if somebody's gonna judge you and turn you away immediately based on the size of, of what's down there, then they weren't worth being with in the first place. Obviously, none of this translates over to like one-night stands and stuff, because that's all you have based off of, but if you are truly looking for a real relationship, then you should be looking for somebody who is willing to look past that. And like I said, you may not even be small, you may be worried for no reason, who knows? So, I say keep on keeping on. I think you're doing fine. I think as long as you're concerned that it's going to be based off of something real instead of penis size, then you're already on the right track. So, don't worry about it so much. You're fine. You're normal. Don't worry about it. And that is going to close off our Speak No Evil segment for the evening. Thank you everyone who joined me this evening, and thank you to everyone who stuck around even through this last little segment here. I can't wait to see you back all on next Monday, and if you have any questions, as I've said before, please do not hesitate to submit them to our Ask.fm app at ask.fm/speaknoevil radio. Sorry, Speak No Evil Radio. Almost forgot the last part. As I've said, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week.